This week on Inside Boulder News, a city employee is blazing trails and inspiring others to reach new heights. The election is only a few weeks away. We'll show you how to check your registration status and make sure your vote counts. We'll take a quick look at the 2017 proposed budget, and more than a century later, a war veteran is recognized for his service. Welcome to Inside Boulder News, your chance to share your stories, get involved, and keep up to date on all things Boulder. I'm Kristen Scovira. If you're an avid hiker, you've probably seen Topher Downham. He's always on the trail, but Topher's not only an outdoor enthusiast, he's an open space and mountain parks employee who's used his life experience as an athlete and a quadriplegic to help others overcome their disabilities and find new roads.
Like 1% grade is difficult. You wouldn't even notice it if you were walking. Anytime you get over like 8%, it starts getting pretty difficult. This trail here that we just came up is about, I'm guessing 12% right now. You can pretty much just get to the trailhead.
Topher Downham is always moving forward.
Really liked connecting people to the outdoors.
An accident back in college left Topher in a wheelchair.
Broke my neck, C6, C7.
He says months of rehab and reconnecting with nature brought him back.
Right after my accident, I ended up hiking a lot just to kind of deal with all my grief and frustrations and reconnecting with nature. It's a gorgeous trail, especially if you do it in the fall.
Now, more than 2 decades later, Topher uses his position as an outreach coordinator for Boulder's Open Space and Mountain Parks Department to help hikers and those with disabilities access points of interest. Soon, thanks in large part to this OSMP employee, this section of Chautauqua will see repairs, making it more accessible to wheelchairs.
We're talking about maybe making this so you can come up to this lookout point and get a better view of the Flatirons, a little bit more away from all the people down below.
Getting away from the crowds often means getting off the more well-worn paths. Topher has spent years creating this guidebook, mapping and researching trails and sites that are accessible to outdoor enthusiasts with disabilities.
We came up with a guidebook so that people can read about it ahead of time.
This side doesn't look as bad.
The hard parts of the trail, just a general description, how to get there, flora and fauna that you'll encounter.
Chances are if you travel these trails soon enough, you'll encounter Topher. Unless, of course, he's trying out any number of outdoor activities like downhill skiing, hand cycling, or mountain biking.
I try everything. Recently I've scuba dived, or scuba dove. Sailing, I love sailing. It's nice to be able to kind of escape and do maybe a difficult trail or a medium trail. Get away from everybody and find a place to just kind of hang out by a stream or be in a field.
For more information about accessible trails and to download a digital version of Topher's guidebook, visit osmp.org. If you're not registered to vote, this segment's for you. Boulder County Elections has everything you need to get up to date and ready for Election Day. Next week, October 17th, mail-in ballots will be sent out. If you're not sure if you're actually registered to vote, you can check your voter registration status online at bouldercountyvotes.org, or you can text the word Colorado or simply CO to 2VOTE. That's 28683. I stopped by the Boulder County Elections Office to speak with Boulder County Clerk and Recorder Hillary Hall.
Even though we have no registration deadline, you still have to have lived in Colorado for 22 days. You have to be over 18 and you still have to be a U.S. citizen.
There are also first-time voter ID requirements to keep in mind.
The most common are a driver's license, a Colorado ID, passport, a student ID, a military card.
Just be sure to get your ballot turned in on time, November 8th.
All ballots have to be back by 7 p.m. on election night, and postmarks do not count. So we have a lot of ways you can do that. We have 24-hour boxes that are spread throughout the county. We also have the voter service and polling center where you can drop off your ballot. If you have any issues and you need a replacement ballot, you can go there. Or if you still want to vote in person, that's another option.
Colorado does not have a registration deadline, so you can register up to and on Election Day. But remember, October 31st is the deadline to register for a mail-in ballot. For frequently asked questions and more information, you can visit bouldercountyvotes.org. Now I have some upcoming open houses to tell you about. The first one has to do with North Broadway transportation projects, including the North Boulder Mobility Hub and road reconstruction between Violet Avenue and US 36.
This is an initial meeting to kick off discussions about plans for that project. It's primarily a street reconstruction, and we're going to reconstruct the street, curb and gutter, and concrete, as well as make enhancements to the bicycle lanes and transit stops and some pedestrian facilities.
That's Noreen Walsh with the city's Public Works Department. She says this is a great way to learn about the proposed projects and talk to the teams.
We would like to begin talking with the community about the project and what the components are, kind of hear from them about what their experiences are, whether they're traveling in a car, on a bike, walking, or taking the bus, so that we can consider some other ideas.
The open house is Monday, October 17th from 5:30 to 7 o'clock p.m. at the Boulder Housing Partners Sage East Conference Room. If you can't make it in person, don't worry. The open house materials will be available online at bouldertransportation.net. And there's another open house you're invited to. This one will bring the expertise of leaders from all over the country here to Boulder to talk about how they're transforming their cities by creating what's called complete streets. A complete street is one that provides the best access for vehicles of all kinds and pedestrians.
Whether you're biking or walking, driving a car or taking a bus.
David Kemp is a senior transportation planner who says you'll hear ideas from panelists representing cities like Austin, Eugene, and Cambridge.
Those cities have a lot of similarities to Boulder, and they're also on the leading edge with implementing complete streets.
The Complete Streets open house and panel discussion is Wednesday, October 19th at the Butcher Auditorium. That's at the University of Colorado Boulder. The open house starts at 5:30 and the panel discussion kicks off at 7 p.m. For more information and to RSVP, visit the city's website and search Go Boulder. Every year, the city manager recommends an annual budget. It's based on the current economic climate, projected revenues and expenses, and community priorities. It's used to inform city council, who will ultimately approve the city budget. The 2017 proposed annual budget is $321 million across all funds and represents a 2.1% decrease in spending compared to 2016. Balancing a budget this size is no easy task. This year, you can try your hand at balancing the books using a new application called Balancing Act. It's an interactive tool that allows community members to look at city spending, send in feedback, and suggestions. The tool is available in English and Spanish. City Council will deliberate about the budget on Tuesday, October 18th, so if you have thoughts about how you would like city money spent, please participate in the public hearing that night. To read the 2017 budget and access Balancing Act, visit the city's website at bouldercolorado.gov/budget. Since 1966, Boulder's Columbia Cemetery has been managed by the city's Parks and Recreation Department. Volunteers known as the Columbia Cemetery Conservation Corps help maintain the grounds, nearly 11 acres of land inhabited by some of Boulder's most historic figures, some still unknown. A graveyard is a quiet place. So calm, the fall wind is one of the few things that disturb these old stones. That and Jack Box's footsteps, a local historian busy uncovering the past.
And so it's here.
He was able to uncover not only an unmarked but an unnamed soldier.
Jack says he often walks around these stones, but wonders about the stories resting just beneath the lawn. The name on this stone is Edward Baker.
You know, even though the marker is shiny and brand new, Edward Baker lived almost 100 years ago.
Baker was a veteran of the Plains Indian Wars and a Buffalo soldier.
Okay, that's perfect. We don't try to make them heroes, but we try to tell everyone around the area that we can what they did and why they are important in the history of the West.
John Bell is a member of the Buffalo Soldiers of the American West, a nonprofit that educates the public about the existence of the 9th and 10th Cavalry.
These soldiers were to do whatever they were asked by the United States government.
According to the National Park Service, these soldiers were among the first park rangers charged with patrolling the West. They're known for fighting in the Indian Wars and being a segregated regiment. Black forces formed after the Civil War.
Some of them are very, very well liked. Some of them were hated. They were a special kind of a soldier.
Hundreds of soldiers are buried in the cemetery, 306 veterans from 10 different wars. Only 142 have marked graves. Jack spends thousands of hours researching and documenting military veterans buried in the cemetery. This is his 19th marker.
The second that you restore a grave marker, there's another one waiting in line to be restored. There's another person waiting in line to be discovered.
This Sunday, you can meet the spirits of Columbia Cemetery as Historic Boulder takes us back in time. Costume members of the community will portray some of the cemetery's most prominent and permanent residents. The event is Sunday, October 16th from noon to 5 p.m. For more information and to reserve your spot, visit historicboulder.org. Thank you so much for watching this week's edition of Inside Boulder News. If you have pictures, news tips, or events you'd like to see featured, we'd love to hear from you. Connect with us on Facebook and Twitter. You can also sign up to receive video updates right in your inbox. Just go to boulderchannel8.com and click on subscribe.